All right, here we go. We have one of the stellar pioneers of the Toronto media industry for urban artists, T Filmz. How are you doing today, man?
Very well, alive and well. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. I've been watching your interviews for a while. Just to learn more about the whole interviewing scene in Toronto, and even with the people being involved. I know with your involvement with Scrap Gang interview, with Casper, a legendary one so far, the Lost series, and then also with Papa Corleone, those were very dope interviews, by the way, man.
Thank you very much.
And it's dope to have another Toronto blogger / journalist, coming in to speak their piece on a lot of stuff here and there, so yeah. But I want to start it off with you, since this is your own story and your own knowledge.
Okay.
So where did you grow up, and what was the environment like for you, as well as your childhood? Would you say that it was a good experience growing up, or would it be very different?
Growing up, first I was in Galloway, and then I moved to Empringham. Growing up, I had a very comfortable childhood. I wouldn't say started from the trenches at the bottom. I always had everything I needed. Both parents active in my life. I had a big family, so I had a very fun, active childhood. It was free, and there was some rough patches, but when I look back, definitely happiness, and yeah, I just thank my parents for that. I can't complain.
No doubt. I mean, Galloway and Malvern, they have a very unique music scene there. With Key Rain, with Reps Up, with Bugs, and with Ancho, Hoodlum, and everyone else there. It's a thriving scene, with a lot of artists that came out there. Which is interesting. Yeah. And growing up in Empringham and in Malvern and Galloway as well. Was there ever any inspiration from there that made you want to immerse in the creative arts and media scene in that area?
Funny thing is, no, I don't think I've ever had an inspiration from where I was growing up. I think that I realized I wanted to get into this more when I was done with high school, but growing up there was some pieces of the culture that I was involved in and exposed to, but I wouldn't say it influenced me because I just didn't know at the time. It was just something I loved, dancing. I remember in Emps, there was in Sean Paul's video and the little kid, I don't remember the track right now, I'm in the spot, but he's in the basement, he's dancing. I remember he came there and everyone is crowded around him or whatever, and certain things like that, it doesn't really influence you, but it's just things you like, and you're involved in the culture and you're seeing and you like it.
The Get Busy music video,
yeah, there we go, exactly. Yeah.
Actually, a fun fact, that actual music video was based in a studio music video they did back in Vaughan, a while back.
And they had the shooting there,
yeah.
I just couldn't remember the title. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
And in the family, was there a lot of music that was played at home? What would be your first introduction into music?
The music, definitely from my dad, because he's Jamaican. He was a DJ. Right now he currently does a radio show, Global One Radio, and you can on Sundays he does a Cool Out Sunday show. You can listen to good reggae music if you want. But I was exposed to that. I was exposed to that in the mornings whenever he wanted to play. A lot of Barris, Hammond, Sanchez, any urban, old, whatever it was. My mom as well, she likes oldies, and from myself and just seeing what's on the TV, a lot of early 2000s rap. So 50 Cent is one of my favorite artists, and that's what I was exposed to. So yeah, I was exposed to a lot of music growing up.
No doubt. And what inspired you to become a content creator and a journalist?
I didn't really call myself a journalist. I don't know why, but I would say what inspired me was just wanting ownership, wanting to have something on my own. In college, when we would do projects, we'd have a vote, and if you lost that vote, and if you gave a pitch and you lost that vote, we're not doing your idea, so you just got thrown in the garbage. You're not doing it. And I just thought, my ideas were good, and I wanted to do them, so I needed a place where I can do it myself, and then that's where it grew. And it's not just only my projects anymore. It's a lot bigger than just myself, where I'm collaborating with other people, I'm involving other people in things, and yeah, it just went from there. And I realized, I'm doing so much, I'm putting a lot of time and money into it, I can't stop. So that's what. And it's still going today, so
yeah. It's very interesting too. And with T Filmz, I guess it started off more in the sense of film like filming concerts or like filming events.
Right.
Like, how did you like manage to create it, like in the sense of the media platform, like just strictly off those films, or like more in the sense of like, you know, like content creation and journalism?
The thing is, I'm very indecisive of what I want to, like that's what people in college always told me, oh, focus on one thing, but I realized I like a wide variety of things. I needed to practice, you know, working the camera and things on, it wasn't just one type of specific piece of content. It was music, it was concerts, it was interviews, it was whatever I could do, right? Events. So that's what I sort of just went with, and I realized that's what I love. I love doing different things. I don't want to put myself in a box, and yeah, if that answers your question.
No doubt. It's kind of like sort of like with me, like with ownership and with like I haven't like actually went to school to do like video production and, you know, like making videos, but
right.
It was just kind of something that happened to me, like that just happened on the spot, you know, like having a camera for graduation and just like learning about that. So that was like interesting too. But like with others, they have like different like aspects to doing it, like going to school or learning from an apprentice. So do you feel like you don't need to go to school to do the certain things you do, like run a media platform or like work on like videography and that type of stuff?
I don't feel you need to go to school, but it definitely has its benefits. A lot of people will tell you, oh, just go strictly, do it yourself and just get started and you don't need school. It depends on the type of person you are. I think school, there's definitely a lot of benefits where it allows you to take your time and learn, and it allows you to just be at a basic level, and it allows you to have one-on-one time with people. It allows you to have peers that you can ask, oh, come hold this camera for me or do this or whatever, and you take it a little bit at a time, and it allows you certain resources, right? So yes and no, because other people, you know, they may feel like, oh, just go on YouTube, whatever, and do it, and you know, it's a balance. I do both. I'm still learning. I'm still on YouTube. I'm still learning from other people, but my time in school, I won't regret it. I went to Centennial College, and I definitely learned a lot, and I'm happy I went there. So it's a you know, it's a scales thing.
Yeah, no doubt. I know what you mean. And you know, like with Toronto, like right now, like there's like two different types of like journalism, like the ones that we do, like more with like urban artists and with, you know, the actual people, and then the real ones of like, you know, blog TO and like city news, all that type of stuff. Do you feel that there's like certain differences in how independent journalism is like handled versus mainstream like journalism, you know, based on ethics, freedoms? And do you feel like about how journalism is portrayed in Toronto based on like bigger platforms versus like smaller platforms and all that?
For sure. A lot of the artists and people who I've worked with, unless they hit it like really big or they're trending for whatever reason, blog TO or whatever probably wouldn't want to talk to them or whatever. And you know, a lot of them maybe, you know, sometimes on certain interviews you see them, they smoke or whatever, there's a certain image that probably portray them, but I don't portray them in a certain, I don't look at them and look at, oh, and judge them, I guess. So, you know, certain platforms that have money like that are involved, they go for a certain look, a certain, you know, feel, and it's like, it's not the reporter's job that's big. They have bigger heads telling them who they want on their platform, and people like me and you, nobody's telling you anything. If you want this person, you're gonna go get them. If this person just came out of jail for whatever reason and he's an outcast, it doesn't matter. You're still gonna go interview that person and get your story, right? So there's definitely differences, pros and cons to that, but we have freedom. As little guys, we have freedom.
No doubt. And I think with us, you know, if we were to interview someone like, I'd say like a Jazz Cartier or like a Kelly in that sense too, it would be harder in that sense to actually reach out to these people because of their media connects, right, versus like a local artist like in one like local hood and all.
Exactly. Those are artists that the government and the city would look at and say, this is the face of Toronto music or whatever. The guy who's shooting videos throughout the city or whatever without the grants or whatever, and he's not being nominated for Junos, he's not being looked at by those same platforms, right? So that's where we come in. So
no doubt, like good point to answer as well, you know. And you know, like with the Capital T like Filmz platform, we've had like a lot of dope artists, like Casper, I think, being like one of the biggest interviews, and then Papa Corleone with like one of the OGs, and then Scrap Gain, which also was involved in the whole like Drake situation, but like in your perspective, like what were some of your like interviews that you can consider your favorite, and what were some that were like the worst, or you know, not your favorite in that sense?
The best ones, like you said, the Casper one, because you know that was the one that sort of put me on the map a little bit more. That was the first time, you know, being on blogs, being seen around the city, so that was kind of cool. One of my favorites, and it also, I put a lot of time and effort into that one, and it came out really well. I'm happy with it. My Oxnap interview is probably one of my favorites, because I wasn't a listener of Toronto rap like all my life. I was very late to the scene, and I went into high school. The first, I went to school in Malvern, right? So I was listening to DGC and Hoodlum and those who I knew. I didn't know anybody else. So when I got to interview Ox, I was like, wow, this is like, I remember seeing him not seeing him, but hearing him in high school, and now I get to interview him. That's cool. So I guess that was one of my other favorite ones. And one more is a UK artist I got to interview. It's not on my channel now, but his name is Cairo Keys. He changed his name. It's Cairo Keys now. And I came across him. He was actually rapping with Central C. I don't know if you know him as a UK artist now. He's gotten a huge buzz now. And I knew him when he was like a little artist, you know, coming up. And it was with Cairo Keys, rapping with him. And then he came to the city, and I got to interview him. It was at Dundas Square. So that's one of my favorite ones. So those three, yeah. I can't say my worst though. I don't want to say worst. There are definitely some that I look back and I say, man, I could have improved on this, or you know, I wish I could have done this, but I won't say which ones. I can't say.